in the past we've spoken about the real estate market, the cycle of real estate, inflation, the 5 variables. And just today, I just want to take some time to explain that each in more detail, because when we sit down with clients or our agents, they sit down with clients, the question they have is like, the market is what is the market doing? And a lot of people have got no idea where the market is at. They just listen to what the media sees, and the media sees the market is going down, and they think the market is going to go down and it's going to bounce back in a year's time. The truth is, it takes time for the market to recalibrate and then come back to where it's at, to come back to where it is. And it could be 5, maybe 8 years to get back to where it is now after a downturn. So a few things, the cycle, the economical cycle in real estate or in economy. So one is, it goes, everybody knows the cycle of real estate or economy goes like this. So this here is called expansion, as the market is expanding, and as well as it's called spring, because everything is growing, right? And then up here is called the peak of the market. It's when the hottest day, as we put it here, hottest day of summer. That is when it's, we're calling it, it was 2021, probably around November till 2022 March, was the boom or the bubble as they call it. So the peak of the market is the hottest day in summer, and then you got contraction where we are at the moment. We're already done, but in Christchurch 10 to 15%, and we still got further to go, as it was mentioned in the media just recently. We've been saying that since we were up here, because if you've gone back and studied history, that after a peak there's always contraction and there's trough. As cycle goes on and on and on again and again. So over time, it always goes up like this, yeah? So it goes up like this. So over time, when you're sitting on the market for a long period of time, you know that the value of your home will go up over time, but it does go up and down and up and down, right? And then you've got the trough, the coldest day, as we also call it winter, right? So the trough is still to come. We're probably about, as I said, 10 to 15% lower in Christchurch real estate market, 10 to 15%. I've said that before, I've said that in the past. We've probably got 15, maybe 20% more to go. 15 to 20% more to go before we hit the bottom, and I feel like the bottom will be towards, probably as we call it, winter in July, the winter across in New Zealand winter. It's probably somewhere close to where the economical winter is going to be the trough. And then I suggest it will recalibrate early 2024. And recalibration, it takes a bit of time for it to come back. So when the market drops another 15 to 20%, right? It doesn't bounce back right away. The clients sometimes we speak to, they say, we're going to wait for the market to come back. Remember, when the market drops, it takes time for the market to come back. In the next slide, I'll explain to you how the market will bounce back, and what is the healthy growth, because after a trough, after a drop, after a bear market, what it is healthy growth for a little while. Now, so if I can move to the next slide, there are 5 variables that drives the New Zealand real estate economy, right? Number 1 is average home prices. Number 2, number of annual home sales. Number 3 is supply of inventory. Number 4 is mortgage rate fluctuation. And number 5 is affordability, which is inflation and unemployment rate. I want to explain that one by one. And when it comes to real estate, an affordable home is when you pay 40% of your salary, household salary, towards your mortgage. At the moment, last time we checked, I think it was late last year, now it will be even worse. It was 6.8 times, so 68 50% of people's household income goes towards the salary. And at that time, the interest rate wasn't even at 5.99% yet. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse, right? So I'll come back to you. You will know, by the time I finish this, you will know exactly how the real estate market works, what the market is doing at the moment, and what you should do, whatever you want to do. So average home price is, in the last 5 years, we've gone up, the property prices have gone up by 54% also, 54% plus, right? In the last, since COVID, it's gone up by about 42%. Now, that's an unhealthy growth. What is a healthy real estate growth? Is up to 4%. So 2 to 4% increase in the value of your home is a good healthy growth. And we've had that before the pandemic, since the GFC hit. We had the healthy 2 to 4% growth. That's why we were saying, Christchurch we've had a brilliant growth, and Christchurch real estate market was quite sustainable until we had the 54% growth. So 2 to 4% here. Number of annual home sales. So that comes to the demand. So if you've got not enough houses coming to the market, like we had that when after COVID, right? There was not that much stock, and there's so many buyers, right? So if there is not enough properties on the market, that pushes the price of the property up. So to push the price of the property up, that's why we had a huge growth in the last 3 to 4 years. Then supply of inventory. Like supply of inventory that we're having now, because when there's boom, as I said, explained to you in the last slide, when there's boom, developers, what they go and acquire land. When they acquire land, it takes a little bit time for them to develop. Obviously, they get a council consent and all that stuff, right? So by the time that they release their properties to the market, that the boom is gone, just like it has now. And also now there's that many avalanche of houses because every developer bought sections, right? And they've released that to the market now. So now you got that many properties on the market, as well as demand has dropped, right? So there's more supply. Mortgage rate fluctuation, as I said, when the interest rate rises, it becomes unaffordable, it becomes harder. You pay more of your salary towards your mortgage, which makes the market harder, right? Or tougher. And when you got the interest rate is low, the market is busy. Like we've had it not too long ago, 2.25%. So the money was cheap, and that is why I'll explain to you at the end of the video. Like I said, by the time I finish this video, you will know exactly what the market is doing, what levers the government and the Reserve Bank use to slow down the market or get the market to increase, right? So next one is affordability. I spoke about that. Inflation rate, we've had the highest inflation rate, I think it's about 30 years. The last 3 quarters was 7 plus, and that is not a healthy inflation. Inflation is supposed to be around 2%. Around 2% is a good inflation rate. And the reason, because inflation is so high, the lever that the government and the Reserve Bank uses is what? Is the interest rate. Because if they raise the interest rate, slows the market down. So let me explain to you in the next slide, or the slide after that. But let me explain to you what causes the inflation, why the inflation happens. Why is the unhealthy inflation? Why have we had an unhealthy inflation in the last couple of years or so, right? First one is cost push inflation. Is oil prices increase, you've got cost of running a business increases, and then obviously cost gets passed on to the clients. So if my business, if it costs me more to run my business, what do I have to do? I have to raise my product or service prices and pass it on to the customers. Workers asking for raise. So as I said, cost push inflation. Because costs are going high, that pushes the inflation up. Land prices increase, like we've had that in the last couple of years, and then rent increases, obviously, right? And then the second reason the inflation increases is demand pull inflation. With so much demand, it pulls the inflation up because now there's that many buyers there, right? So, and in that case, what happened? The government cuts taxes and feed money into the economy. Remember that what happened when the government feed money to the economy? They give free money away, and it happens when people are making a lot of money. So when people are making a lot of money, what do? They spend money. So there's so much demand that pushes the prices of everything up. And then too much demand for products where businesses increase prices to slow down because there's that many buyers. The businesses like Martin or the warehouse, because they don't have to worry about buyers, right? They're not fighting to lower their prices to get more buyers. No, they don't. They just want to slow down because the government shut the country down. They only had this much stock, and there was that many buyers. So they put the prices up. So number one, they can make a lot of money. Number two, also to slow the buyers down, if you will, to slow the demand down. And then the third reason the inflation happened is printing money. When you print so much money and feed it in the economy, what happens is everybody becomes rich. When people become rich, when people got money now, what do? Majority of people go and spend. When they go and spend money, it just increases everything. That's when a boom happens. And that's why we had the boom, right? So stimulus free money, like we said, we had 31 billion that the government printed out. Quantitative easing, of course, and low rates. The lower rates, because after COVID, they didn't know what was going to happen, so they lowered the rates so people can go spend money. So when money is cheap, people go and borrow more money. They can borrow more money because the repayment is less, and that they can afford to go buy bigger houses. Hence the demand that we've had. Hence the market went out through the roof. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the lever that the government and the Reserve Bank uses to slow the market down and to get the market to get busier, right? So the lever that they use is the interest rates, because what happens when the interest rate is low, people go and spend money. Cheap money, easy to borrow money, because the repayment is easy. So if I'm buying a car at 70,000 and I'm only paying 3% interest, it's a low repayment. Let's say a round figure, $100,000 car or a $50,000 car at 3% on a $100,000 car is the number would be $3,000 a month is my repayment, let's say, right? So, and if I'm down 50, it's only $1,500 a month, right? And then all of a sudden, when the interest rate goes high, now I'm paying 6%, now my repayment becomes $6,000, and so on and so forth, right? And then, as I see, the Reserve Bank and the government, the only thing that they use to slow the market down and get the market get busier is this thing called the interest rate lever. Now, because the inflation has been so high, the last 3 quarters, 7.2%, as I said, and client asked me, like, what do you think is going to happen with the interest rate? They will raise the interest rate. As I said, like, that's the only lever they use to control the inflation. So they're going to keep on raising this because the market is high, interest rate is low, right? As I said here, right? And then they will just pull the lever up to slow the market down or in inflation down. The inflation needs to be around 2%. Remember I talked about the healthy inflation rate around 2%. So they're going to keep on raising the interest until they get around 2%. At the moment, the interest rate is 5.99. Don't be surprised. I see that in my past videos. Don't be surprised if we get to 8 or 9%. I hope it doesn't, but don't be surprised if they do. I hope that's been a good summary of what the market is doing, because these are the questions that agents should know to be able to guide the clients, because some of the clients, as I said, they want to say, I want to sell my house, but I'll wait till end of the year. yeah, you might wait till the end of the year. That's going to be the bottom of the market, yes, but it takes time. After 20%, 15% drop already, 20% more drop, that makes it 35%, to come back to where it is, add another 20% to the market. It will come back to 2 to 4% healthy growth. And when it comes back to that, it takes me to come back 20% after 20% drop. It's going to take you 10 years to come back to where it is today. So hope that's been of help to you. And if we can do anything for you in regards to real estate, sing out. Agents needs any help, give me a call and I can explain all that to you. I hope it's been of help. Thank you.